It's the Weather Xtreme video. This is the morning edition for Tuesday, the 4th of April. I'm James Spann. All of the ingredients are coming together for a potentially dangerous severe weather event across the state tomorrow. That'll be the focus, so let's just go in there and get it. This is the water vapor satellite view. The wave train rolls along. This is going to be the last in the series. That wave you see back in the southwest United States. After this one, it's going to shut down for a while. It's going to come back, but it will be the last, at least in this group. Early this morning, we have a dense fog advisory for parts of central and south Alabama. That should dissipate by mid-morning, and the day today should be just beautiful. Sunny with low 80s. But the problems begin after midnight tonight. This is the severe weather outlook for today, tonight, and early tomorrow morning. Keep in mind this runs through 7 a.m. tomorrow. You can see one risk of severe weather out around Tulsa and Kansas City. Of course, this is the Alabama look, and this is for what happens after midnight tonight. So this is early tomorrow morning. Even though the day up there says Tuesday, April 4th, today we have no problems. Again, this is for after midnight tonight, early tomorrow morning. We've got an enhanced risk over a few counties down in southwest Alabama, the standard slight risk, Category 2, up to Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, and Anniston, and a marginal risk up to Gadsden. Storms will probably start to fire tomorrow morning as early as 4 or 5 o'clock. And the greatest tornado threat early in the day will most likely be down in southwest Alabama, where the storm should be more rooted in the boundary layer. Storms up here should be more elevated with hail and strong winds. But after 7 a.m., this is the day 2 outlook, and you can see much of the eastern U.S. with a chance of severe weather. Of course, we've got that moderate risk, and we'll talk about that. That's for parts of east and south Alabama, up into Georgia and parts of South Carolina. These are the probabilities tomorrow. And where you see the crosshatch area, that means we could see some significant severe weather. And again, in the moderate risk, a 45% chance of severe weather within 25 miles of a given point. That's basically a 50-50 chance you're going to have some severe weather, which is about as high as it gets. This is the Alabama look. We have the moderate risk roughly east of a line from near Heflin to Rockford to Prattville, and then down to about Atmore. And understand, storms don't know these lines. Don't get too hung up in the colors and the terms and the boundaries here. This is just kind of a guideline. We have an enhanced risk for areas that are east of a line, from near Moulton down to about Demopolis and Mobile, and then the standard risk for extreme west and northwest Alabama. And again, we're going to talk a lot about this here in just a minute, so hang tight. And on day 3, which is Thursday, we have a risk of severe weather up on the middle Atlantic coast. This is the rain for the next 7 days, valid through Tuesday morning of next week. Heavier totals for east and southeast Alabama, about 1 to 1.5 inches. So here we go. This is the GFS, the 06E run at 1 o'clock this afternoon. You see the troughing coming out of the southwest. Then tomorrow at 1 o'clock, the trough begins to go negative tilt. Very strong wind fields with this, so there's excellent upper support. And again, this is at 500 millibars, about 18,000 feet off the ground. Let's go down to the surface. And again, let's make it clear, today's going to be a beautiful day, sunny and warm with low 80s. We note the surface low developing near Wichita Falls. Tonight, that surface low creeps up toward Joplin, Missouri. We're still dry, and this is 1 a.m. tomorrow, just after midnight tonight. A warm front should begin to pull northward, and storms should begin to develop along that warm front in the pre-dawn hours tomorrow. And then by 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, the surface low is southeast of St. Louis, under 1,000 millibars. And obviously, that's a very favorable synoptic setup for severe weather. But the devil is always in the details. So let's look at the potential reflectivity coming off the high-res NAM, the 3-kilometer NAM. This is at 7 a.m. You can see we'll have a batch of morning storms, and I think with this, the main threat's going to be from hail and strong straight-line winds. And then at 1 o'clock, things kind of calm down, maybe a little midday lull, and new storms begin to fire pretty quickly. And then by 4 o'clock, we've got these cellular storms, and those could become supercells, and all modes of severe weather are going to be possible. And then by 7 o'clock, those storms are approaching the Georgia border. So this is going to be a daytime event. We're going to have daylight for most all of this event. This is not going to be one of these overnight type things. Let's take a look at the forecast severe weather parameters. This is the instability, the surface-based CAPE. at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And, this might be a little overdone. This is suggesting some spots could see a CAPE in excess of 4,000 joules per kilogram. Whatever. It's going to be the highest instability values we've seen all year. And that is certainly very robust for severe weather. The air very buoyant. This is the low-level storm relative helicity, 0 to 1 kilometer. Notice the higher values are on the eastern side of the state, from I-65 east. And that's why we figure the higher probabilities of a significant tornado most likely will be along and east of I-65. But understand, if you're in West Alabama, we can't rule out the chance of problems before this. This is 4 o'clock. Those higher values will be over West Alabama earlier in the day. And this is the STP at 4 o'clock. And again, those numbers are very robust. It's a composite index that's typically very good. Significant tornado parameter max is 7.5 units. And take a look at the updraft helicity product. And again, you can see potential for these rotating updrafts, especially over the eastern half of the state. And finally, a forecast sounding. And again, it's your classic severe weather look with the dry air in the mid-levels, moisture down below, veering of the wind with altitude, very favorable turning hodograph, and it's all there. And one of the things that's interesting to note on the analogs down there, it's got one of the analogs for this thing is December 16th, 2000. And we did have a strong violent tornado that day. That happened to be a Tuscaloosa tornado. That was pretty rough. That was an EF4. So again, this is what we're saying. And if you watch these videos, you understand this. For the Joe Q public that doesn't take the time to watch these, we have to be kind of careful. We don't want to alarm people. There's no need to be alarmed or anxious or worried about it. This stuff happens. It's spring. It's tornado season. But this is going to be a very active day. And we'll probably have multiple waves of storms from as early as 4 a.m. all the way through 7 p.m., and during the event, most likely in the afternoon and early evening, we could see a few violent long-track tornadoes, especially in that enhanced and moderate risk area, especially over the eastern half of the state. But everybody statewide has got to pay attention. And what you need to do for us is to be an ambassador and tell your friends and neighbors that don't pay attention to the weather, that it's going to be an active day, and they don't need to worry, just have a way of getting warnings. And obviously, Weather Radio, Tier 1, Tier 2 is a good smartphone app. We like Weather Radio by WDT. But just be sure and spread the word for us so that everybody knows what's going on. You can be a great help. So let's get past that bad day and take a look at Thursday. We turn cool. We'll be in the 50s most all of the day with a strong northwest wind, gradual clearing, maybe some lingering drizzle or rain Thursday morning over northeast Alabama. And then Friday will be a sunny day, but a cold morning. We're going to start the day down in the upper 30s to near 40. Pretty good north breeze. No frost on Friday morning. The day will be sunny with a high around 60. These are the anomalies. Temperatures way below average for the east. And then Saturday, this is when we will probably see frost. The high's right on top of us. The winds are light. The sky is clear. We're expecting mid-30s with frost for most everybody around here. And the colder pockets will see a freeze. And this is our April cold snap that always happens. The day Saturday, beautiful. Sunny with upper 60s. Sunday will be a sunny day. We go back in the 70s. And Monday of next week, sunny. And again, we'll be well up in the 70s. And a week from today, notice how the wave train is shut down. These things have been coming at us once every 3 or 4 days. Well, not this time. We're still in a dry air mass with the front north of the state. And this is the end of the forecast period. Thursday of next week, a fairly weak wave passing to the north, the surface front coming through. That doesn't look especially impressive. Numbers coming off the GFS. Look at those 30s. And again, Saturday morning is the one to watch. I think for the city of Birmingham, in the city, with the urban heat island, probably upper 30s. But for most of you, mid-30s. And for the colder pockets, upper 20s and low 30s with a freeze. So if you planted, you got to do something to cover them up or bring them in. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video this morning. We'll have notes in the blog. The next video here by 4 o'clock this afternoon. You can catch us this evening on ABC 3340 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.